Is it? This is the second attempt at trying to explain something very complicated. Um, so I'm gonna try and be shorter than the last video, but it might just still take 15 minutes. Okay, in the first place, when I was first, given this diagnosis, as you know, if you're locally, then you recognise that I was given an option, like the amazing option of being able to not only raise money for something, but the ability to be given the offer of DC-Vax, which is a immunotherapy towards this. And this is at the very start of a journey of trying to learn as much as we possibly can about what it is that we've got. Well, I keep saying we, but what I've got, and what the research looks like. And we are learning. We now understand that the complexity is unbelievable. The complexity of what this thing is very, very, very complex, and every single day we're learning something every single day. And since the diagnosis of the actual tumour itself, we were offered or given the fact that my version of this tumour is largely not hugely touched. It isn't touched and affected very much at all by DC-Vax and immunotherapy. It is affected by it, but not amazingly. And of all the diagnosis, mine would be the least sort of affected by DC-Vax. Now, we've since learned, and since DC-Vax, we've seen lots of other. There's lots of other. There's other things going on. There are other options in terms of money. The big money. The big. Betting on red is actually a lot more complex, because what we're learning is, rather than offering one option, which is what we're given, obviously, we understand that the best approach to all of these things is to not just have one attempt at something that might help in one way or another. If there's any drug, or if there's any research, then hitting all of the goes in one go is way better than just it's just the one answer. And in the first place, we were shown, you have a go at this, you have a go at this, and I keep calling it DC-Vax, but all of the other research we've looked at, great, we have a go, we have this go, we can choose this one. Actually, we're realizing that there's research is huge, and the best option for us, for me, is to have lots of attacks of this from lots of different angles. This is really hard to explain from the outside. It seems everything looks and seems a lot simpler than it is on the inside. But on the inside, it's very, very hard, because we understand that there are no options to this. So we're sort of on our own a little bit, to try and work out the best approach together. And I'll give you an example. There are, dozens of research, dozens, probably more, of drugs that have been taken or tested to help help, lots of different cancers, for example. But let's say for a specific my approach, there's lots of phase 1 studies where they've done things with rats or on mice or but they don't go any further than that. Now, from the problem that we've got from our perception, when you're in the position that I'm in, as soon as so I'm going back onto chemo now, but as soon as when you're taking chemo and radiotherapy by the NHS and by the doctors, there is only one. They can only offer radiotherapy and chemotherapy, because anything beyond that, any of the previous research that that might have helped in some way, it is not allowed. They're not allowed to offer other research. So there's lots of drugs that have shown, they have maybe shown some efficacy, but they're unable and not allowed to offer these other drugs. So rather than just having one approach, or just hoping there's your standard of care, which is your chemo and radiotherapy, rather than just having that, me and Cheryl realised that we need to attack this from lots of different angles, and we are lucky that because of the money that we were given in the first place, that started off as just DC-Vax, and then that's our attempt at a solution, which we know is not, by itself it won't work. This enables us to do lots of research, every day, to speak some, speaking to people, things like to pay the money for us to have what's called a genome, to have our genome taken, my genome, which is able to read what's in my body better. Something called an exome, I think I get these wrong, but this bigger research that's done that might be helpful for us in the future, and then all of these lots and lots of these other things that I'm having every single day are very expensive. Lots of the things that we're buying from the outside, that have shown some efficacy, some research. We're very carefully researching and making sure we're taking a building amount of different research, not necessarily all drugs, but nutritious, what's the word? Other things for us to take each day that have shown some help, and they work together. Lots of things work together and are meant to help with chemo a little bit, help them to affect us. And the thing with chemo is that I'll be having for the next 6 months. That is the one. It's not very effective to mine. It stands a less than 10% chance, I think, of affecting it in any way to me. But it's worth a go. But we know there are other things we can otherwise have and that might help. That might help in one way or another. The point I'm trying to say is, what seems simple from the outside is really complex, and what seems like on the outside, because we're just not, it looks like we're not making decisions to go over. We've been offered to try going to Germany and try to different countries, and as well as like within the UK, go and do this research or doing this. Everything we're doing is everything that can be done. There's nothing there's no standing, just sitting and just being lazy or not working at the right things to do. We're looking here for the long haul. I want to be able to I want to be here for the long haul, and this means being more clever and speaking to lots of people, all of whom are really very clever people and who are helping. So I still don't know if this explains anything that's external to this, but being inside this world is completely different, and I try really hard to explain that, and I want want everyone to know that everybody that helped us and that has continued to help us, all of those people had all of that time and that effort and that money is all, every single bit is there to help. It is, and it's ongoing. All of this is really ongoing. So so what looks like we've just not made a big decision or a choice, or what looks like a big weight being waiting for, it's not. This is ongoing. If you knew how many different things I'm otherwise taking and trying and working with, it's quite a lot. But again, this is the second attempt of me trying to explain this, but I don't know if it is. But if anybody ever wanted to talk about this, or for me to be able to explain this again, or if anybody wanted to speak to any of us individually, I'd love to talk to you, or explain to you. But I'll upload this, whether this is any explanation of anything, which it may not at all. But I know I'm missing I know I'm missing lots of big things that I'd otherwise talk about, but I'm not doing that here. But if you feel like you've got any questions, or you think that there's anything else that anyone else would want to know, I'd love to share and explain. And I'm finding a lot of warmth from people that are in the same suffering. They're explaining the position they're in, or somebody that's been given a diagnosis that's very similar to ours. It is helpful speaking to these people. And if you know anybody that's otherwise in touch and they'd want to speak to me, I'm happy speaking to people individually. Okay.